Have you heard about the golden beverage? Exactly. We are talking about tea. In India, our mornings doesn't start without a cup of tea. Namaskar, I am Pankaj Sharma from IHM SHIMLA with another learning session on non-alcoholic beverages. And in today's session, we will be discussing about tea. At the end of this session, the learner will able to define tea, explain manufacturing process of tea, and list and explain different type of tea and briefly explain different tea blends as well as list out the different tea brands. As we discussed in the last session, tea is a stimulating non-alcoholic beverage and it is obtained from the top leaves of tropical evergreen shrub Camellia sinensis. Tea contains a stimulating agent which is known as thein. It is similar to caffeine in coffee. Now coming to origin of tea, tea was first discovered in China and that too accidentally near about 2737 BC by a Chinese emperor Shen Nung. And from China through Buddhist monks, it traveled to other Asian countries and simultaneously to Europe and other nations of the world, and slowly it came to India through Britishers. Coming to various tea producing countries, we have China, which is the leading producer of tea at the moment, India, Kenya, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Turkey, Indonesia, and Japan. And this goes on. Let's discuss the manufacturing process of tea. And when we talk about the manufacturing of tea, we have a traditional orthodox method, and then we have a CTC method, which is known as cut, tear, and curl method. Traditional orthodox method starts from plucking and goes till packaging. Let's discuss these points one by one. And coming to plucking, it's basically the picking of flushes. And what is this flushes? This is a bud, as we see in the picture. It's a bud and two young leaves. And only these flushes are used for making tea. And this plucking is done by hand or by machines. And usually it's done twice a year. The next step in the process is withering. Basically, it is done to remove the excess moisture from those leaves. After the plucking, we keep those leaves under the sun or in the breezy rooms, and usually this entire process takes like 10 to 12 hours minimum. And after this process, our leaves get dry. The next step is rolling. In rolling, leaves are put through rolling machines which break the leaf cell, and during rolling, some essential oils, juices are released from the leaf. And during this process only the CTC and orthodox method change. Next step is fermentation, which is basically the oxidation of tea leaves takes place during this entire process. And this is one of the most important aspect when we classify teas into different categories. Okay, so in fermentation, we keep the leaf in a climatic controlled rooms, and during this oxidation happens and leaves turn darker, their tannin is released and flavor and aroma is developed, and these can be stopped as per the producer's requirement. Next step is firing. In firing, leaves are heated by a current of hot and dry air, and it is done in order to extract the moisture and stop the fermentation as per the requirement of the manufacturer. So by this we can control the oxidation process by firing. And leaves after firing turn black, dry, and crisp. After the firing, grading is done, in which we sort and grade the tree according to its size and shape. Like we have leaf, dust, fanning, etc. And last step in the manufacturing process of tea is packaging, where we pack and store the tea in the airtight containers. Moving ahead with the types of tea. When we talk about the types of tea, we will come across different type of tea like white tea, green tea, oolong tea, and black tea. The first is black tea. Now, there is a slight difference between these all type of tea when it comes to black, oolong, white tea. In black tea, this tea is fully fermented, means the oxidation happens completely, and because of the oxidation, as we studied in the manufacturing process, because of the oxidation only the black color come in the leaves. The second type of tea is oolong tea, and this is partially fermented tea. That means oxidation happens to a certain point and then it's stopped. The third is green tea, which is very famous at present because of its antioxidant properties. And this is a tea where there is no fermentation takes place. It undergoes firing or steaming immediately after plucking. And last in this category is white tea. In white tea, tea buds are dried to produce white tea. Here in this flow chart, you can see the difference between different types of tea and their manufacturing. Like we discussed, in the white tea, it's drying and then directly we produce after plucking it directly dried. Moving ahead to the form of tea which are available in the market, the first one is leaf tea, which is a very high quality tea and it is made by whole leaf. Leaves are not cut, which reduce the oxidation or fermentation process. And this tea contains more antioxidants, which are very good for health. The second is CTC. This particular tea processes through 3 stages, which is cut, tear, and curl. And the product which is produced from this particular process, it looks like small pellets of tea. And this is more popular in Indian market. You can find it in the Indian market a lot. And last one is dust tea, which is commonly used in our household as well. And this is basically the low quality fine grains of black tea. And traditionally, the remains from the manufacturing of high quality tea like leaf tea are used to make the dust tea. Then we have some tea blends, which are the famous teas around the world which we come across. The first one is Assam tea from India, and Assam Valley is very famous for its tea, and it is a strong, full-bodied and malty flavor tea, and usually taken with milk. The next one is Darjeeling tea, and it is also known as champagne of tea, and it's light colored and delicate in flavor. Can be taken with or without milk, or can be taken along with lemon. Next is Earl Grey, and it's a blend basically of Darjeeling and China tea, and this is best taken either black or with lemon. Next we have jasmine tea, and jasmine tea, it's green or white tea which are flavored with jasmine flower, and it's taken without milk. And last in the tea blends are tisanes. What are these tisanes? These are the new trend in the market, and basically these are the flavored tea. These could be fruit flavored or the herbal infusion, and these are very famous for their medicinal properties. For example, you can find in the market chamomile, peppermint, cherry, orange, different flavors, and these teas must be consumed without milk. And last in this category, we are moving towards the brand names of tea, and you can find different brands in the market, and few of the famous one are Lipton, Tetley, Twinings, Dilmah, Tata Tea, the Republic of Tea, and Brook Bond, and many more you can find in the market. Let's summarize what we learned during this session. We started with the introduction of tea, where we discussed like tea is a stimulating non-alcoholic beverage. Then we discussed about its origin, that it comes from China, and through Buddhist monks it's spread throughout the world. And then we had a brief introduction about its manufacturing process, and moving forward to the types of tea, where we discuss about different type of tea like black tea, oolong tea, green tea, white tea, etc. And form of tea, where we were having leaves, CTC, dust, and last blends, where we saw various blends like Assam tea, Darjeeling, Earl Grey, tisanes, along with the brand names to end our session. With this, we comes to end of this session, and in the coming session, we will be learning about another very famous non-alcoholic beverage, which will be coffee. Thank you. Have a great time ahead.